I'm going to show you guys how I took this £3 dress from Vinted and turned it into this gorgeous resin wet look top outfit. Before we carry on, this video is sponsored by, I'm joking, but it is inspired by the Nava Rose, the queen of DIY fashion herself. So the first thing I did was put it on and pin where I wanted to cut the top. I wanted to make sure I had enough fabric to cover the whole front of my torso. I then lay it out and cut off the skirt and then snip the back open because I wanted it to be a backless top. Once I did that, I unpicked the straps and checked it on the mannequin, so I had an idea of how much the top was going to cover. I then burnt the edges so it wouldn't fray. I only did this because I didn't have my sewing machine with me. I wouldn't recommend doing this technique over a sewing machine, and if you are a young person doing this, please be supervised by an adult. After checking it on the mannequin again, I then used the straps to make little loops and attach them to the top. This is where the chains are going to go, which will be the straps of the top. After doing that, I realised I wanted the top to be a little bit longer, so I used a piece of fabric that I'd cut off from the bottom. Then it was time to cover the mannequin to protect it, and I did this by using 2 bin bags and wrapping it in duct tape to keep the silhouette. Now it's time for the fun part. Of course, I put my gloves on and I did 1 part resin and 1 part hardener and kept adding until I had a decent amount. I used a roasting tray as my container to mix and dip. I saw Nava Rose used a jug and made a lot of mess, so I learned from this and I figured it would be a better option. Once everything was mixed, I completely soaked the top in the resin and then squeezed it out. I did this a couple of times to make sure the resin had gone all the way through the fabric. Then I laid the top on the mannequin and moved and pinched the fabric to how I desired and wanted it to look. I left it for 24 hours and then peeled it off when it was rock hard. Then I snipped off the excess resin and started attaching the chains. The chains I used were an old body chain that I had lying around, so I just took it apart and attached it through the loops, and that's it. I absolutely loved this top and I got so many compliments. It turned out so well and I was super happy with it. Stay tuned to see what DIY I do on the skirt because I still have to use that.